Welcome everyone, I hope you're doing well. Nikon just released their firmware 3.0 update. This comes just a few months after the April 2.0 update, and this is another big one. I'm gonna let you know what you can expect in terms of changes from 2.0 to 3.0. Let's get into it. One of the biggest things to be added into this update is film grain. And a lot of people have been requesting it, and now it's finally in your ZF camera. Now you'll have the ability to use 3 different grain sizes, 6 intensity levels, and 16 different combinations, with the amount of possible combinations being like in the millions or higher. So you're never going to have the same sort of grain in your photos and videos. And yes, it is also included in your video if you want that to be baked in for your video files. Really cool stuff. Now, obviously, when we're talking about baking it into your files, especially if you're shooting video, you want to make sure that is indeed the right decision you want to make before you press play, because you're not going to be able to take any grain away. And a lot of editors will actually allow you to add grain quite easily. I'm not sure I would add it unless I'm looking for like the finished in camera sort of workflow, which honestly it's easier than ever to create the images in camera now with the custom creator picture controls, where you're able to fine tune and design the sort of shots you want. If you want me to go into that, I can definitely do a review on it. There's lots of different LUTs and presets you can add into your cameras now. So having the ability to also add in grain adds a ton of flexibility for people that prefer that sort of workflow. Obviously, if you're shooting RAWs with JPEGs, you have your RAW for flexibility, and then you have your JPEG with the baked in file. So it's the best of both worlds. They've also added a feature called the Only During Zoom feature. And this actually allows you to switch on your focus peaking when you go between the 200 to 400 zoom modes. And that is particularly useful because a lot of times you're just trying to compose your image when you're manually focusing, and the focus peaking definitely gets in the way of being able to just see the overall clarity of your scene, and it can be a little overwhelming at times. I think this is a great addition. They've also added the maximum aperture live view setting. It also allows the lens to stay at a wide open aperture. So if you're shooting in night sort of environments, you can lock on focus that much easier with your autofocus lenses. Going into the next feature now, frame lines and guidelines. You have the ability now to crop to 4:3 grid and also 9:16. And this can be particularly useful if you want to crop in camera for social media. So that just allows you to have a little bit easier of a workflow, just to dial everything in camera, so that the end result is a much cleaner workflow if that's what you're looking for. The next thing that was updated is the monitor auto switch fix, and this fixes the issue that a lot of people have when they're wanting to shoot with their monitor and they're accidentally bumping it, maybe having it up against their chest or a strap getting in the way, and that gets in the way of the eye sensor, and it actually makes it so that it turns off the monitor and goes to EVF mode. But with this setting, when you flip the screen out, it actually locks in that you're using the screen and you're not wanting to use the EVF. So this is a great feature that is added in this update, and that will really help a lot of people out in the field. I know I suffer from this a lot when shooting because I use my monitor quite a bit, especially when shooting video. I really like to shoot low angle shots as well, and this could be a real annoyance for a lot of people, which I usually just switch over to complete LCD mode, but this actually is a much smarter way of operating your camera. Okay, the next feature actually benefits people that are more into high-speed shooting, and this is in the C15 high-speed shooting mode, which allows you to have the ability to shoot up to 15 JPEGs in a burst-only mode. It also gives you a high-speed shutter sound in high-speed frame capture plus and pixel shift shooting. Okay, moving over to video updates. Now, if you shoot with your camera in vertical mode, it will capture that orientation in camera, so you won't have to change it in post. It will automatically recognize that you're shooting vertical video. So that is really nice with the overall workflow. Again, there's a lot of ease of use quality of life updates with this 3.0 update. With this update, they're really trying to help with user experience more than anything, and I think a lot of people are going to appreciate this. Now, going on to high-res zoom, it will now show you the focus point on your selected subject as you zoom in with that. Another feature in shutter priority video, you're no longer restricted to what aperture you're shooting on. Now we're moving into some workflow enhancements, and we're going to bang these out a little bit quicker because these are a little less important in terms of overall updates. Currently, you'll have now the ability to use your ISO control via the command dial in manual mode. You also have exposure compensation, which is assignable to the command dials in manual mode. They also say that they've simplified the picture control in the image cloud, and that was something that a lot of people were having issues with. It's a really time-consuming process compared to most other cameras, and I hope this makes it easy enough for most people to get on board with that. Pre-release capture now works with Bluetooth remotes, and voice memos now work with external microphones. Now, going on to connectivity, you can use now a USB-C cable in order to connect your camera to whatever system device you want to use for your live streaming, and that is really nice because I was not necessarily a huge fan of the program they had, the webcam utility Nikon one. So this is a great update, and this is something that I saw on the Z6III, and it was a much appreciated update. Now, there is a Wi-Fi style mode, which allows you to connect your camera to a smart device through a wireless LAN access point. Okay, here's another one for ease of use. Now, in the Nikon imaging cloud, you can install auto update, so it will auto update the camera for you. You don't really have to worry about it, so make sure to select that if you can't be bothered to install the updates. Most of the time, they release amazing updates, and you probably don't want to miss most of the updates that they release for these cameras. Now, how this works is you can actually set a time for it to look for the updates when the camera is powered off and plugged into a power source. So it just does it all for you, and that makes life pretty darn simple. I should mention as well that there is no computer or memory card even necessary for this update. In order to give you multiple ways of updating, you can also update this firmware update through the SnapRidge app on your smartphone. This update is free, of course. I don't know of any Nikon updates that they've done where they've actually charged for it. So if you haven't done so, download it right now. And if you are using another Nikon platform camera, check out whether or not you have an available update as well for that camera, because they've released quite a few updates over the last while, and you probably have an update that's been released over the last few months. Well, that was a pretty big update, right? What do you guys think about this release? I'm really curious when they're going to release some of these things for the Z6III, like the grain. I know we have a few of those other upgrades and updates in this camera already because we just had a major update not long ago. So be patient. I'm sure it's going to come to your system if you have a camera that has been purchased or released in the last few years now. This is a big one for social media creators, people that are wanting to ease up their workflow. Manual focus shooters are going to be really happy with this update. Being a ZF is going to really appeal to some of the vintage crowd and also people that shoot on lenses like Voigtlander. So having extra abilities in focus peaking is going to be ideal. All in all, these are some great quality of life improvements. Let me know what your thoughts are on the upgrades and improvements. Do you think that this upgrade is missing anything? And if you were to add in any additional improvements for, say, a 4.0 update, what would it be? Looking at other cameras like the Z9, they're into the 5s, the 5.0 of upgrades. So we're expecting to see several more big upgrades, I'm sure, on the ZF. And then going to the Z6III, I expect still quite a few because they're still only at 2.0. So a lot of upgrades, I'm sure, in the future. I'm really happy with what they've done on their full frame series of cameras. This is the best system to be in at the current moment, and I'm really happy to be along the ride with you all. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to release a news segment on my news page, so come look at that if you'd like, and follow it if you want to see daily news in a blog style form. I have affiliate links in the description. Please buy through my links. It would greatly help me out. Anyways, thank you. Take care. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.